Hello, Tim James here, founder of chemicalfreebody.com and host of the Health Hero Show podcast. In 2015, I made a vision board, not this one. And at the bottom, it said podcast across it. And in 2019, that dream finally came true. I started my own podcast. I also sell detox and nutrition products. And I was actually struggling financially with it because I didn't know anything about online marketing or any of that stuff. I was a financial advisor that just had a passion for high quality products and healing my own self and my journey. And I wanted to get that message out to people. So I started, I had a friend and they had me on his podcast and we got a few sales. And I was like, wow, maybe I should do this again. Do you have some people you could recommend me to? I got on this other podcast and we had over $10,000 in sales come in a month from that. And then he got me on another podcast that had like 100,000 viewers. And we did over $108,000 in sales over the next 3 months. I took $20,000 of that money and I hired two podcast booking agencies. One was $15,000 for 48 episodes. It was like 300 something an episode. And then I paid another one $5,500 for 12 episodes. So it was like, I think a little over 400 an episode. And it went great. Some of those shows were awesome. I built great relationships out of them. I have affiliates now working with me. They have me back on their shows. They've led me to other people. It's been awesome, but there was a whole bunch of them that really didn't pan out too much. So it's kind of what you got to do. You got to kind of dig through the gold, right? You got to do the work. Well, one of the guys that I got referred to was actually working with Fidel over at Podcast Virtuoso. And I was telling him like, man, this podcasting is awesome. It's really growing my business. It's like, I can do this because I have the story and I can get it out there in front of people. But I told him when I was paying and he's like, geez, dude, he's like, that's way more than what I was paying. You can get Fidel's awesome. You can get the same results at a fraction of the cost. So I was like, oh, okay, well, I'll try it out. Being a business owner, you want to lower your costs, increase your profit. So I tried out Podcast Virtuoso. We've been totally happy with them. I've signed a long-term contract with them. He's booking like 15 podcasts a month for me with his team. It's going great. I just was on a podcast that got me in front of 22,500 viewers in one show. And the lady, the podcast host loves me. I love her. We're just like besties. And so I'm getting really good results from the Podcast Virtuoso team and the podcast they're getting me on. The other thing I will say is that my assistant on the other podcast booking agencies, they would book a show and then connect you via email. And then my assistant would have to call them, get the booking link, do all that kind of stuff. Now with Fidel's team, they set it up and they just send you the booking link. So you can just go in, you or your assistant can just book it. It saves a ton of time. And I'm really happy about that service. And then they can also help you create your one sheet. If you don't know what that is, it's kind of like a bio and, the different topics that you would talk about on the shows and stuff like that. So they do that professionally if you don't got that done. But more importantly, they're going to get you on these really good shows and that can drive revenue and build your business, build your brand, and get the message out, the book you're trying to sell, whatever it is out there. So I highly recommend Fidel and his team over at Podcast Virtuoso. If anybody wants to chat with me, you guys can definitely use me as referral. I'm totally happy with the service. And I will probably re-up on that contract when it expires. Thanks a lot.